Welcome to Daikaiju Network Commentary, where we have a healthy obsession with kaiju. I am your co-host Kent, and with me is your other co-host.
Jason, how's it going, everyone?
So we are doing a commentary on 1974's Hanuman versus 7 Ultraman. Um, for me personally, I remember the last time there was a G-Fest, there was a panel dedicated to this dude in Thailand who I guess had some sort of weird
Yeah,
agreement with Tsuburaya Studio.
yeah, it was kind of an
Um,
infamous controversy, and
and I don't know if
the guy that you're talking about is Sampote Sands.
And I don't remember if that was like a panel we had recorded either in the audio or video of and uploaded onto our site at the time. I don't know.
Not not that
I would
I
have to go back
remember.
and check. Um, by the way, before I progress any further, my allergies just in the last about 36 hours have really flared up. And so, yeah, like if I sound weird and all that, that's the reason why. I did some sinus cleanup and took some nose spray and all that stuff before the show. So hopefully that kind of, doesn't really come and affect us throughout most of this episode. But I have never seen this before. Jason said he saw it a little while ago. I am not very familiar with all this. Like I said, I remember going to a panel a few years ago at the last G Fest. So I have very rough memory as far as what this is all about, other than the fact that there was some weird agreement. This guy apparently within the last couple of years was found to have been breaking copyright laws when it comes to using the Ultraman characters and all that. So that's really the extent that I know about this. So I'm just going to kind of leave it to Jason to do any more explanations that he feels like needs to be said about not just this, but kind of just this whole Thai Ultraman deal in and of itself, and then we'll get started with the
Yeah,
commentary.
yeah. So basically, this whole film was a collaboration between Tsuburaya and this Chaiyo Productions, which is based in Thailand, which was basically run by the this person named Sampote Sands, and it was kind of a movie about one of the deities of Thailand, which is Hanuman, and I think there might have been another name. And with this film, it goes by a few other names, uh, which the Thailand name of this film is what we're using for the name of this episode, Hanuman versus Seven Ultraman. The other name for when it was released in Japan uh, was it according to the information here 5 years after it was made, it was called Six Ultra Brothers versus the Monster Army. And then there's a third title, which I'm probably guessing some of you may know. uh, the US version of the title is Space Warriors 2000. And so with that, uh, some of the things that Ken has delved in, that there's some agreements as far as what Chaiyo uh, and Tsuburaya Productions have sort of agreed upon, as far as sort of distributing some of the shows, Ultraman shows at the time that have been made up to that point, that they can at least distribute. But Chio thought that, oh, we can use some of the characters, make some TV shows or movies uh, with, and so on and so forth. And that wasn't sort of the thing that was initially, you know, mentioned in the contract or anything. And I think there was some weird language that was made into the this contract sort of thing, and there was some mentions that Tsuburaya himself uh, put his seal of approval on this contract, and Sampo Sands always showed this supposed contract. for many years and everything, and it was sort of one of the things too that where Tsuburaya wasn't able to release a lot of their Ultraman shows and stuff around the world, including here as well, up until recently, where this court where they had all this legal stuff, uh, basically, uh, what's the word? Um,
What are you trying to say?
ruled in Subaraya's feature.
Ruled in favor?
Ruled in favor. I can't think straight. Ruled in favor of Subaraya, where like this contract was basically sort of, I think, turned out to be fake all this time. The sort of deal, and so now, which is one of the reasons why that you see a lot of older Ultraman shows and stuff now appearing in the States, particularly falling after this whole legal dispute, sort of say. So that's kind of how things have sort of transpired.
Speaking of Ultraman products coming to the States, at some point today, I am expecting a delivery from Amazon of the Ultraman Mabius collection that was recently released by Mill Creek. So at some point today, I'm going to be getting that. Um,
Haven't seen that show in a couple of years, and one of the shows that Crunchyroll has premiered in the States a few years ago.
it's been hard trying to keep up with some of the Mill Creek stuff because it seemed like they were initially at first about every, I don't know, 4 or so months, they were releasing a new title. Now it seems like every 60 days there's something new because it's just like a kid in a candy shop hopped up on pixie sticks where
Yeah, I
it's like,
just
here, have more. Like,
Yeah, I just recently got a few Ultraman Blu-rays, including this eight Ultra Brothers and Ultraman X and
I did too.
the Ultraman Zero stuff. So
I got every single one except like, I didn't get 7. I did get the original I didn't get 7 or Q because I already had those. I also had the original, 65 Ultraman series, but I wanted to get the Blu-ray version because that's one of my favorite shows of all time, and I just was very curious as to what it would look like in high def.
do you
So,
have the Neo Ultra Q?
I do have that, yeah, I went through that actually 2 winters ago. Yeah. It's fact right here.
Gotcha.
I had talked about it last year, on or what Daikaiju Fest that we did. Because
I
I
think
went at
so.
no, it wasn't 2 winters ago. It was that summer because that was one of my little panels that I did. I went. I think it's what is it 12 episodes? I keep wanting to say 26, but I think it's 12. Yeah, 12 episodes. So I watched all those in like a week and then recorded like an
Gotcha.
audio panel for that. So if there isn't anything else, we can just get started.
Yeah, I just want to, just to kind of do the usual housekeeping here that if you see if you're watching us on YouTube, if you see the red subscribe button down below, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as smash that like button too, and as well as hit the notification bell icon to notify whenever we stream or any other videos in the future. And we also have audio versions of our podcast that you can find us over at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, as well as TuneIn. And besides YouTube, that when we stream live, we're also on Twitch as well. And you can, and if you want to find the main hub of both video and audio versions of our podcast, we've got our own website too, where we post, blogs from time to time. We try to do that
I
ourselves, but
recently did release like an article.
and the like, and you can find us at our own website at daikaijunetwork.com.
So I was just quickly looking at an Ultra wiki. And so, yeah, Ultraman Mabius was the most recent um, release by Mill Creek. It says planned under the planned section.
Yeah,
At the
because
end of this month on the 28th, it says Ultraman Kids 3000. I just checked on Amazon. They don't have that yet, so I don't know when. And then Ultraman Zerth, the two Ultraman Zerth movies, those are supposed to be coming out at the same time too. And then eventually Neos, Cosmos, Nexus, and Max, those are TBAs. Um,
gotcha. Yeah, because I
so
was wondering about was it Cosmos and Neos? Because I know I've been wanting to try to fill up the Heisei saga.
it almost sounded like you said Estados Unidos. We're speaking Spanish now all of a sudden here on Daikaiju Network.
Even though I
Um,
haven't barely studied any Spanish since freshman year of high school, so
I haven't studied Spanish since my spring 2007 community college semester, and that was before I went to university, and that was like Spanish level 4. So,
by the
yeah,
way, I
it
can
won't
see
really.
half of your face
I know.
there.
Well, I'm trying to type something here. While you were talking earlier, like I pushed my laptop back about as far as it can go, and I've even scooched back a little bit here. So, like, if I do like this, then I can't like reach my keyboard. But all right, I'm gonna let's get going here.
Yes.
And then, kind of once we get started here, I'm gonna go to Mill Creek's site and just kind of check on if they have any pre-orders on the new Ultraman Kids or whatever. So, if you haven't done this with us before, I count down from 3, and I go 3, 2, 1, go. When I say go, we hit the play. By the way, we're watching this on YouTube. This is, to my knowledge, there's no official release, obviously, of this film. So, as far as I'm aware of, the only way, unless you get it from nefarious reasons, the only way to really watch this is on YouTube. We're using the Space Hunter M channel,
Yep.
more specifically. We are both at the 1 second mark. So
Basically,
get
where
through
you
all your
see these
commercials.
sparks.
Yeah, get through all your ads and anything that you may have. We're right at the 1 second mark.
Mm.
So when I say go, that's when we hit play. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, I'm gonna put in the commentary cam here, so you want to see our ugly faces.
So I'm hoping that the
Holy shit! Bunch of UFOs.
that's bubbles, dude.
Yeah, I
You
know.
already on LSD?
Well, I mean, just look at it. It's already sort of an LSD trip.
That's sort of a mild Toho ripoff there.
Yeah. Yes. Kind of the really cheap Chaiyo Productions intro card there. And also make sure that you have your subtitles on. If you're when you're watching on YouTube, there's a setting in the closed caption that there's already subtitles in it.
Part of me's already enjoying this just because of how schlocky this looks. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I really
Yeah,
do think this
I
is
was just
like.
I was just sort of thinking to myself here that it seemed like yesterday I was just watching this, but it was literally 2 years ago.
Well, I was just showing Jason before we even started. Like, I've been finding all these classic and schlocky, like science fiction horror movies on YouTube over the last like year and a half, and I showed him my collection. So I love my schlocky stuff.
Look at that civilization built
This
with
looks like
really
it's
cheap stuff.
flat.
And the Aurora Borealis just made with
There's a cat in
silky
its
stuff.
face. I've never seen this before, so this is all brand new to me.
I think you're gonna really enjoy for how cheaply and out of this world stuff that they
900
do.
heaters. Now, were the Ultraman costumes borrowed by this dude, or did they have to make their own?
And I think they were borrowed from Tsuburaya, with this being a collaboration between the two companies. And from what I'm seeing, according to the cast here, it looks like was a Hanuman was just played by like a Thai person, and then the rest of those that are in the Ultraman suits are Japanese people. I'm assuming like some of the original people, but as far as who the one who played as Ultraman wasn't Ben Furuya.
Pregnant from. Wait, I missed all that. How was a Hanuman born? Like this god impregnated this girl?
Yeah, it's like some. I think it's one of those Thai legends because with Hanuman is one of their deities.
But it said in India.
Oh, with soft subtitles, I'm probably guessing that's not quite correct.
Yeah, I missed part of that because I was kind of watching the visuals. Oh yeah, that's not Ultraman right there.
So that's
Like,
Hanuman right there. Of course, you get the Thai titling there.
Thai title.
Yep,
I mean, look, we're what, like maybe 3 minutes into this thing. I'm
4
digging it.
minutes actually.
I mean, I didn't even look. I just guessed. But my point is, I'm digging it already. He's invincibles. Then why should I even bother watching? If he can't be defeated at all, yes, he's immortal. That's the same thing saying that he's invincible. So he's not actually fighting the Ultramen. Then why is it called Hanuman versus Seven Ultramen?
It's just a title that the Chaiyo production came up with when they released it in their cinemas and stuff back
I
in '74.
wished I was invincible after each time I prayed.
But when this movie came out in Japan, it was retitled to as Six Ultra Brothers versus the Monster Army.
Okay, because I just saw that on this same guy's channel. So that'd be interesting to watch side by side, like this one and then that version, just to see like
Yeah,
how different it is.
I think they're basically the same. Um, According to this one source, that in 1984, Chaiyo Productions re-edited the film and re-released it under the name to another name, Hanuman versus 11 Ultraman. After being released in Thailand, the film was released in the United States under the title Space Warriors 2000, the year of the monkey wrench.
So how is it in Japan this was called like six Ultraman when if there are six Ultramen in the actual movie? How did they pull that off?
Don't don't question it. Don't question it.
Don't question the Asian film market. I thought I said, "What's wrong, you jerk?" But it's like, "What's wrong with the Jeep?"
With red
This is
smoke coming out
definitely,
from the Jeep.
yeah, this is definitely reminding me of like your Sentai and your like Red Baron type of shows already.
Yeah.
I was gonna say blow his leg is off, but they were already ahead of me.
And I like how this Jeep is really colored with a bunch of colorful things, and I think the windshield did too.
They
Yeah,
must love
the
bumper
windshield
stickers.
just has a bunch of shit on it.
Was
Yeah.
this like supposed to be a comedy?
I think it's just how sort of some of the stuff in Thailand was produced.
I'm dancing like monkeys instead. Okay, so initially I was on board with this movie. Now it's starting to lose me. So that's supposed to be smoke in their face, but you can easily tell it's paint because, there's it's obviously paint, and then on top of that too, it's not around on most of their nose or up and above their lips and around the eyes and all that.
Yeah. You can see it's starting to drip from their face too.
Yeah, it's pretty hot out there.
50 degrees Celsius. What does that translate to?
Well,
Time
let
for
me find
another
out.
thing of research here.
50 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. 122.
Wow.
Oh, from Mortal Kombat. I expect Shao Kahn to be breaking out of that any moment.
Yeah, the actual
Ooze.
temple for Mortal Kombat was filmed not far from Bangkok.
Yeah, I knew it was on location.
Yeah, I need to check what the name of that is specifically.
If it isn't already, that temple area should be considered one of the wonders of the world because that is pretty
Well,
cool.
it is a historic site,
Yeah, but
obviously.
I'm talking about like, instead of the seven wonders, it should be the eighth wonder of the world if it isn't already. But then again, people would be like, "Oh, no, Kong is. Kong's a made-up character."
Let's see here. Yeah, it's called Wat Chaiwat Hanaram. It's just kind of right along this river.
Is our protagonist. I'm all for showing things like this, but when you start meandering, that's when I start having problems. It's like, okay, you set it up, that's good, but do we really need to stay here for another 5 minutes watching everybody dance? Like, get on with it. I bet the Japanese version of this is better already.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they probably edited this down. Let me take a look quickly. What's the an hour
Yeah.
19? This is an hour 43. They cut almost 30 minutes out of the Japanese one.
Yeah, so 80 minutes for the Japanese and then 103 minutes for the Thailand original version.
I'm gonna say this right now. You know what? We had originally planned to have a discussion of this on our next episode. I'm wanting to say, look, let's actually do the Six Ultra Brothers versus Monster Army commentary after this, and then during that one, kind of talk about the differences between the two.
We can do that if we so choose. Probably have to double check see if the actual Six Ultra Brothers
It's on
Japanese
Space
version.
Hunter M here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have it right here on
Oh,
my
okay.
recommended side of the screen.
Gotcha. I can't really see right now because I got this in full screen mode on my laptop.
Let it rain, let it rain, let it
Yeah, as
rain.
far as the actual deity itself, Hanuman, it's a Hindu god, apparently, a divine Vanara, a monkey companion of god Rama.
I thought the Thai though were their own people, or are the Thai people descendants from India? Because I thought the
Um,
Thai were their own. culture and everything. Because, like, you know how the
Well,
Chinese in some respects are descendants of the Japanese?
the culture, yeah, but I think as far as maybe some uh, religions, I think it's probably a sect.
Interesting. I would have thought the Thai would have had their own deal going.
Let me check Thailand here as far as their kind of
Main
the main religion.
religions in Thailand. Whoops, what am I doing here? I'm
Yeah, so
on the wrong.
about 94% is Buddhism, about 5.5 is Islam, 1.13 Christianity, zero point zero 0.02 Hinduism. So it's
Wow.
almost non-existent.
And this is Hindu god, this Hanuman?
Yeah,
So probably what we're watching here is everybody involved in that country that is involved with this religion. These 12 children right here. That's all that represents that religion.
but from what I'm looking at, as far as the info from Hanuman, there's a thing on different sects of religion.
Sex on Daikaiju Network.
Uh, I'm talking about the SECT.
I
There's a
know.
thing on Buddhism, and yeah, so Hanuman appears in a Buddhist gloss in Tibetan and Khotanese versions of Ramayana.
I'm gonna look at a map here, see how close Thailand is to India.
It's not that very far because you got Thailand and
I was gonna
then
say,
Myanmar and then or Burma.
okay, so that makes sense. I was gonna say because it's gotta be well, it's a little bit further away than I thought. I thought it was a lot closer. Oh, the sped up footage stuff.
It looks like one of them's wearing a woman's swimsuit
They
there.
both are.
Oh, jeez.
And they're talking weird,
Well,
like ducks.
because they're Thai. That's their
No, but
language.
I'm talking about the voice.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's like it's like they're doing it intentionally.
well, it's just sort of how they speak.
Because like when we watched Garuda like a while ago, nobody sounded like this. Okay, wait a minute. Is one a dude and the other a lady? Because it looked like the other one had breasts.
No, I think it's just with the
See, look
swim.
right here in the forefront.
Well, with the swimsuits being both women swimsuits, I think
Okay,
it's
good
just
point. Yeah.
sort of how it was designed and just not quite flat.
See, okay, yeah, because I'm like, is this movie trying to like put in some weird gender subtext or like, like, is this thing just trying to make a comment on everything in life?
I don't think so. Now it's raining from the ground up.
What the fuck? It's every time we get to these two, the movie just decides to take a fart in your face. Like it just,
I have a feeling that the Japanese version, when they cut it down, I have a feeling that they cut those guys out completely.
please God, do you know what? I'm gonna take a look at it here. I'm seriously gonna take a look at it here.
Boy, look at all those rockets.
Already the opening credits of the movie are better.
Boy, that's very sci-fi esque.
Oh, I think they are cutting them out. Yeah, it goes straight to the kids dancing. Oh, and then it cuts to the beginning of this movie. So these two knuckleheads are included.
Oh,
but it's after they've had the car like shoot in their face. There's the swimming scene. So it cuts out like the beginning where the Jeep decides to like shoot smoke in their face, and it just that's even weirder to some degree because you just get these 2 random guys that then go swimming without any context.
I wonder how some of the people in Japan when this was released, how they reacted to some of that.
Well, I'm sure they knew. So they probably looked at this movie to some degree with like the same sort of standpoint that most people here in the States probably viewed Godzilla movies back then. Kind of like, okay, like this is goofy. Let's not take this seriously. That boy, that little boy, he's just getting into this whole thing.
He's so psyched.
I mean, he's
Probably had
always
too
at the
much sugar.
forefront. How are we going to get these kids going? I brought pixie sticks. Where did Oprah come from? That little girl or boy or child, like it's kind of yeah. I'm gonna join.
So you can tell the difference which had pixie sticks and one that didn't.
That one probably had a heavy breakfast of pancakes.
Yeah.
That Jeep nearly tipped
Yeah.
over twice.
Yeah, you can tell because of that one front passenger wheel was barely off the ground there.
If I were in that shot, I probably would have out loud and I probably would have been on camera yelled, "Oh shit." Like, and would have been like grasping on, thinking it was gonna tip over.
The one thing is,
Again,
do you
there's
like, do these kids like go there every day and just like shoot the shit and have fun there, like during the day after school?
look, I mean, if I were that age and there was this temple nearby, sure, I'd be playing on it all the time. But my thing is, okay, we're still just getting dancing and dancing and dancing, and nothing is happening.
So, as far as I remember watching this from a couple years ago, these three guys that came in a Jeep, they're basically robbers, trying to rob, I think, one of the sacred relics there.
Are these the same guys we just saw a moment ago in that science center?
Nope, completely different.
Okay, because I thought one of them looked like that head science dude. I'm like, wait a minute, what is he doing? Yeah, that's definitely a prop right there because it certainly doesn't look like the surrounding, you know, artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that thing looked like complete, like thousands of years ago.
That was kind of one of those advanced civilizations
That
years and
looks like
years
rubber
ago.
when it popped off.
You look like rubber when you popped off.
So, are these guys getting like bunch of money for the heads of the statues?
I'm assuming
Which is
you don't
weird.
really know.
Oh, he
Yeah.
kicked him in the face. Oh, it's no holds barred here. That's so weird.
And one of the guys just sort of need his friend in the ass there, the way it looked.
Hey, where's our friend? He's been gone for like 5 minutes.
You just finally noticed. All of a sudden, he just rams right into the side of the building.
I was just thinking that guy takes the bag and like whacks the kid over the head with it. Oh, jeez.
And then punches him right in the face. Jeez.
That's a strong kid, though, because he's not bleeding. But I'm
Well, he
sure he
just
probably
gets.
turns into Hanuman, right?
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
figured.
because his name is listed first as Ko. I think his real name is Ko Ko Dundee as Ko/Hanuman.
Why didn't he turn into like Hanuman then and like step on those guys?
Well, you'll soon find out. You're gonna find out soon enough.
It's quite a lot, for stealing the head of a statue. I mean, I understand it's an artifact, but at the same time, it's stone.
Yeah. Stop, dirty thieves.
Aren't thieves technically dirty, anyways? Oh my gosh! Oh! Oh no! Oh my god! They went
Yes.
there.
Yeah. Some of
He's wo-
these.
he's
So.
not wounded. He's got shot in the face. He got shot in the head.
Yeah. You can kind of see it, like the way how some of these Thai movies were back in the day. That they can go pretty to the extreme.
I wonder if they still do. I don't think anything else in terms of like brutality we cover here on Daikaiju Network will like top this. Like
I think
the
the
murdering
close.
of a child.
I think the closest was oh shoot, Red Man or something. I forget. Uh, it was a Chinese. I don't know if it was Fireman or Red Man or Inframan. That's what it was.
It's like I know what you're talking about, but even I forgot the name.
Yeah, Super Inframan. That was probably the closest, but this is by far goes a bit more
Inframan
to the
still
extreme.
like was on par with a lot of like what you would see out of the Showa Godzilla movies, like from the 70s. Because the Showa 70s Godzilla films kind of upped up some of the violence because by that point Gamera was pretty popular. And Gamera was the Gamera movies in general are more violent than just about any Godzilla movie.
But yeah, this with this movie, yeah, that goes beyond the camera ones.
So there are no adults to preside over this. Like, where are these kids'
Nope.
parents?
That's what I would like to find out.
These kids are pretty mature and organized.
Surprised that they still have the red dot on his forehead there, even though that he was practically covered on his face there.
Well, they probably cleaned up most of his wound, I guess.
Quite a lot of energy coming from the sun there.
I will say the sun definitely plays maybe a more prominent role than it does in most Ultraman shows.
I'm probably guessing why they called seven Ultramans because you got the six there,
Oh,
including the mother of Ultra.
good point. So the Japanese decided to be misogynist and not include the mother. Well, you answered. It's a hand. So if he's Hanuman, and like if I caught the beginning, at least enough of it appropriately, that he was already birthed as Hanuman. So then why would the Ultra people want to turn him into Hanuman if he's already Hanuman?
Just gonna have to find out here.
Oh no, I got an ad in 3 seconds here. Oh fuck.
I haven't gotten one here. I'm at 2901. Let me know when you get there.
There.
Okay.
So this commentary is going to be a bit screwed up now. I should have watched it on my computer now because I have a browser that would eliminate all those ads. Okay, so with the Ultramen here, we got regular, 7, Ace. Was it Taro? What's the
Taro.
other one?
And was it
Zoffy?
Zoffy? Yep. So yeah, Zoffy, Ultraman, Ultra 7, Jack, Ace, and Taro.
I have a hard time telling the difference between Jack and regular.
Yeah, it's sort of the same for me too. I think it just depends on the patterns of the suit that you can tell the difference.
I still am confused here. Like, did I miss something? Because I thought he was already born as Hanuman. So why are they changing him?
Guess he just couldn't, wasn't able to do it.
There was an amendment to the whole contract in which, yeah, like you had to be abducted by the Ultraman of M78 and had something else done to you in order to officially become Hanuman.
Or maybe he wasn't supposed to die unexpectedly like he did.
Yeah, it's your fault, child, that you got shot in the head. Jeez. Holy shit. It's like he's dancing in the air.
Just going all over the place.
Did they know that their friend was Hanuman?
Maybe with that helmet that he wore, like that one there.
Oh, yep.
I wonder if all the stuff that they shot at this temple place all took in one day.
Yeah. I'm positive it did. I'm positive.
Shouldn't be that hot in there. Come on.
If you say so.
It's not like it's gonna rain inside that whole scientific room there.
I wouldn't put it past them to have some sort of open roof policy,
Yeah.
and then all that rain will fall onto their electronic equipment and short circuit.
And get electrocuted.
Where are the parents of these kids? Like, this kid's gonna end up dying of dehydration.
Well, that's what I would like to know.
What if the kid's gonna die of dehydration?
No, about the parents thing.
Oh, see, you weren't very clear about that.
Holy shit, the sun is exploding. Now it's just kind of getting towards that uh, trip to the moon film.
I bet none of this, by and large, will come back and play a role in this movie. So we're getting exposition on stuff that probably is not going to come into fruition later.
Yeah. Well, and plus it's like Hanuman is basically like fucking things up in the order of the universe.
Yeah, way to go. Oh, for fuck's sake, like, can we
Now you
just.
got a talking flower.
It's not so much that, it's just about, like, stupid little nonsensical games and stuff that none of it really matters. It's just about prolonging the movie simply because they could.
Hmm.
Yeah, please don't play games with us.
Hmm.
Another ad? Oh, for Pete's sakes.
Oh, I'm gonna stop here. I'm at the 37-minute mark. Let me know.
There. Like, I didn't have any ads for, like, the first, what, like, 40 minutes, and now I've had 2 in, like, the last 10 or 15 minutes. I like having it on the TV because then that means I can do other things on the computer. Plus, it's a larger screen, too.
That's what they but kind
For
of
big
messes
fucking
up.
just this fucking movie. They did all this because they could. It's like maybe they're trying to build suspense, but it's like it's not working. I'm annoyed more than anything else. You had me going like the first 4 to 5 minutes, and then after that, maybe we should have ended at the credits. Well, Hanuman versus Seven Ultramen was pretty cool. Those credits were awesome. I love the planets and how those practical effects looked.
Well, maybe just have to wait and see what the Japanese version does for us for the next
I'm
episode.
willing to bet because it's like 25 minutes shorter, it is probably better. They're probably like, "Yeah, we don't need this. We can trim this down." Like,
So now Hanuman
wouldn't
is
they?
kind of code now, right in front of the robbers there.
So, doesn't this like mess with the robbers? Because wouldn't they realize, hey, this is the kid we shot earlier?
It's kind of what it does. Now they bring out a shotgun. And then now he turns into Hanuman.
So there's supposed to be monsters in this movie that they're supposed to fight, like some big bad villain, like super villain saying, "Hey, monsters, go get them."
Maybe it's been
Because
a couple of years.
right now, all it is about going after the Three Stooges of thieves.
Yeah.
Like we've spent a lot of time on this kid who got shot, turned into Hanuman. Then he plays peekaboo with a flower. Now he's chasing after these goons. We spent a ton of time on kids dancing earlier in the movie too. Like where's the plot? Like what are we supposed to be entertained by? Because right now this is just a movie for the sake of like people just having a movie.
And then you got one getting smashed by Hanuman
I
there.
mean that was good, but this is good, but this is nothing. Like these are three mortals who you know are not going to escape this dude. Like give me a supervillain of some sort. That was dumb. How
He
those
gets
trees
crushed.
collapse. What a dumb movie. I mean, seriously, like, I'm willing to go with you up to a point, and we're like nearly 45 minutes into this thing. Like we're almost halfway through, and I have no idea. Like, is there a villain? Like, if it's these three knuckleheads, like, we might as well stop it now. Two of them are already dead. And on top of that, like, okay, a boy died. And like I said, playing peekaboo with a flower, kids dancing, like there's nothing going on. Nothing of real substance. If you want to have these knuckleheads get their own from Hanuman, this stuff should have been done earlier and abridged. Yeah, nobody is fighting you in this movie. That's the problem I have with it.
And see, that's violent there too.
Oh man. Oh, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Oh, it's no holds barred. Get on with it. I'm bored as hell right now, really. I mean, yeah, that squishing thing was something else, but I mean, by and large, I'm tired of this. Give me an actual story here. No, please don't. I don't want to do this Sun car. I want to have a villain with some monsters here. Like, give me a story. Who are you supposed to fight to save the world? Damn it. Just. Look, I'm sure the Japanese version makes it better in some respects, but I still don't think it's going to make it good enough to necessarily recommend.
We'll just have to wait and see. Because, like, the original version of Return of Godzilla, you said it was way better than the American version.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, I mean, that's different. You got competent filmmakers there who knew how to tell a story and do it properly. Not to mention the American edit took out some Godzilla scenes and some important character development moments, as well as some plot moments as well. I mean, it was sort of a, 3 for 1 punch that they did there. The
So,
American edit is fun, but in terms of like storytelling, it's not that great.
well, at least have to wait and see when we do
This
the
right here is
Japanese
not
version.
good. There is such a thing as a movie being too long. Not only is this too long, it's just that there's nothing of value happening.
I have a
There isn't.
feeling that with the Japanese version, that they probably cut out a good portion of like the early parts with Hanuman here.
The only thing so far, because let me see here. We are
Farmer's
like
bleeding.
40 we are 48 minutes into this thing. Okay. Within these first 48 minutes, the only real thing of value is that okay, we got to see Ko, he died, and then the Ultra family turned him into Hanuman. Then he went after the knuckleheads, and that's really about it. The problem is that nothing else of value has happened, and even his chasing down of those three thieves was much longer than it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
This whole nonsense with the sun god or whatever was dumb. The chasing the flower was dumb. The dancing was too long and dumb. Like it's just
Yeah, I sort of agree. Like some of the stuff needed to be shortened up quite a bit.
or not even in to begin with.
Yeah.
Like we've had a couple of scenes with people at this science lab. Like what's their deal? Like nothing has happened there. I thought
Well,
maybe they were going to be some side
for
heroes, but
for me, I probably would have at least have cut out the whole chasing the whole knucklehead part.
yeah, that needed to be cut. The early deal chasing down the thieves needed to be edited
And
down.
probably
Dancing needed to be edited down.
the other two knuckleheads.
Yeah, those guys need to be cut out. We haven't seen them back. Like they
Yeah.
haven't come back. They've added
So far,
nothing.
yeah.
What are these meteorologists? Like, is this supposed to be a meteorology lab?
Yeah, meteorology lab with a bunch of nukes outside.
That would be funny. An alternate reality where like the meteorology stations are like the saving grace of the human race.
Or possibly the opposite.
Could be, yeah, those darn meteorologists always getting the weather wrong. They did that for a reason.
They're the bane of our existence.
I was born in the dark, molded by it. Oh no, don't tell me we're gonna have an absolute countdown of every second from 60. Oh god, they're doing it. No, please don't. No. Oh god, no. Stop it. Oh,
And then now there's those guys now. Your
oh
favorite
my
two duo.
gosh. These two are the non-dynamic duo. Oh, I hope your rocket gets lost. They had me concerned there that I thought they were going to have her count down every single second from 60. I'm like, I wouldn't put it past this movie to do that. Oh my gosh, they had her count down like a third of the numbers here. Like it just Oh, your role here is to count down from 60. Well, I can do that. Hired. I will say I like the models here. I mean, that's
Yeah, the practical
the compliment I
effects.
can give it.
Yeah, the
And the
practical
set
stuff.
here,
Yeah.
like the set, I think is really cool. Most of it probably means nothing, but it's cool to look at.
Yeah, the whole practical effects stuff in this sets are pretty good. Yeah.
The sound effect here reminds me of a sound effect from Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster in the lab, the nuke lab. What do they call it? The water that cools down the nukes, like the hot water or whatever that stuff's called. I
Not
forget what
sure
it's called.
exactly. I'm not into all that stuff.
I knew at one point, but it's just not coming to mind right now.
With all the acid rain or radiated rain coming down.
Well, yeah. So this is like stealing a plot from Son of Godzilla. So is this the end of the movie? Like,
Well, we're just a little over halfway, so.
this is so dumb. I mean, there's no real villain here. Like, it's a movie about wannabe Power Ranger monkey dudes here, like trying to make it rain, but then their Jeep blows up. They go swimming in women's bathing suits in a lake that they shouldn't have. Some kid gets shot in the head and then is picked up by the Ultra family, turned into Hanuman. None of this is being connected anywhere. Like, and none of it really, again, like I said a few minutes ago, very little of this so far has mattered. And really, like, this needs to be trimmed down. We don't need these people laughing all the time.
It's probably the reason why that Japan probably cut a significant amount for their theatrical release. And he's like, okay, guys, you're being too annoying right now.
I wonder if he's the director of the movie too.
Well, apparently, the one who directed this was a, a Japanese person,
Really? I
Sohei
wonder though.
Tojo.
I wonder though if he was pressured by any Thai execs on the project to like insert some of these scenes and to prolong some of them because producers have a lot of sway on projects
Well,
too.
it's like the producers are Noboru Tsuburaya, Sampo Sands, and Hisao Ito.
So you got the Sampo guy. What about executive producers? Like
Uh,
the top dudes.
yeah, those are the only producers. The only known ones that were producers was Tsuburaya's son Noboru.
Something's missing. Like I to me, I'm almost in
But the ones
believing that either Sampo had a more sway over this project
he
than
probably did,
anything else,
he
or
probably did because
there
uh
we go again.
he co-written the script along with was it Bunzo Wakatsuki?
This is a terrible script.
Because I bet you anything with a lot of the whole Thai dancing and all that stuff is probably all Sampo.
What they should have had on set was signs that were laminated where it said Sampo no. Like like no, we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna film this scene, or we're not gonna prolong this scene.
Yeah,
There they go again.
and the one thing about Sampo Sands here is that he unfortunately passed away here on August 26th of last year at the age of
I
80.
think I remember hearing about that,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
I
apparently
looked at the logo there, and it reminds me of the USPS logo.
his active years in the whole film industry was from 1973 up until his death. So this is basically
One of
like
his
it,
first.
yeah, beginning of his active years in the film
I'm sorry,
industry.
but this is not a good start. I mean, it isn't. Look, I'm not saying I'm the greatest storyteller, but it's like this movie has no focus. This movie right now has no plot. This movie has no real character development. Like, this movie has no real nothing, basically.
And so, one of the other movies that Sampo has done, besides this one, is that he did Jumbo Gates and Giant, and plus he, according to this, that he illegally produced the Hanuman and the Five Riders, which is a common rider sort of film. And I know I've seen beginning parts of that around the time when I first saw this movie, but I didn't. Well, I think I might have watched all of it. I can't quite remember if I did or not. A Quake?
A Quake. I never want to hear anybody talk about, like, how much they think Son of Godzilla or Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, Godzilla versus Megalon, or Godzilla Final Wars, or Godzilla 98, like how bad those movies are until you watch something like this.
By the way, speaking of Godzilla '98, I just realized I've been I've been thinking about going to Hawaii later in the year, and there's a location there on Oahu, kind of the main island where Honolulu is based, that they have the actual footprints of Godzilla there,
Oh, that's cool. If you do that, I want photos.
and
Oh my
plus
gosh. Like,
majority of the Jurassic Park saga has been filmed there,
was filmed there, yeah.
including Jurassic World.
So we are basically almost at exactly an hour in, and that's when the kaiju showed up.
So yeah,
We are
after the
more than
explosions of
halfway
all those
through.
rockets.
Yeah, like how long that took. Like, again, most of what has happened in this first hour doesn't matter. I mean, does anybody know how to tell an actual story and the beats of a story and what you're supposed to do and all the acts? Maybe this movie's saving grace will be its final 45 minutes, but we spent an hour watching crap.
I mean, with all those that have been on board with collaborating, I mean, you got like some of the actual head honchos from Tsuburaya Productions. I mean, you would have think, with their years of experience in cinema, that you would think that they would know what would work, what would be too long or too short,
But then
so
again,
on
though,
and so
too, it
forth.
makes you wonder because of this deal that was struck, like, because this movie is made in Thailand, that maybe Sampo and his crew had more of the final say on what goes. Like, I really wonder if that's what it is.
It could be one of the things because like most of the main characters that you see here are all Thai.
Right. I mean, if there are any Japanese actors in this movie at all, it's probably within those Ultraman
Yeah,
suits.
yeah, those are the only ones
And
that.
maybe the Kaiju.
Yeah, because from what I've mentioned before we started watching this, that most of those that are in the Ultraman suits are from those that are from Japan. Yeah, and even the monsters that are in here, they're all acted out from Japanese people. But yeah, all the human elements and the kid who plays as Cohen, Hanuman, are all Thai.
This movie. I mean, my hope is that maybe now the final 45 minutes will be more entertaining, but like I said, we've already spent more than half the movie wallowing in filth. It's like taking a bath in raw sewage. I mean, seriously, like this movie initially started out as amusing, but when you keep watching something that isn't good but yet initially amusing, it begins to grate on you, and you're like, these are minutes of my life I am never getting back. And like you begin to question like how you go about reliving your life from this moment forward because you're like, holy crap, not worth this was not worth like the hour and 45 minutes. Like I should have left within the first 5 and lived in blissful ignorance of like, yeah, those were good opening credits. It looked good.
Yeah, and then just leaving me hanging out to dry, watching the rest of it.
The thing that's sad is this is your second time watching it.
Yep.
This is my first. If we didn't have a podcast and you and I just happened to be watching this online just for the sake of it, I would have said, dude, let's watch something else. This is stupid.
But hey, just think of this. At least we're commentating the first time and then discussing the Japanese version in the next episode. And we don't have to touch it ever again on this podcast.
Yeah, we'll commentate on the Japanese one. I want us to watch that together. Like, I think that's going to be interesting because, like, you got a 25-minute cut down on that one. I can just see
why
Tsuburaya's
why
face like,
commentate on the Japanese version when we were just basically doing the original version?
I guess that might be true. We can discuss it more later here.
Yeah.
Were most of the effects done by Japanese here? Because I do believe, to me, this comes off definitely as like similar stuff you'd see in Ultraman shows of the time.
I probably might say so because with Tsuburaya being part of it.
I mean, there's not a ton so far happening with the monsters other than a bunch of explosions, but it's definitely more fun to watch than much of that first hour.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of wasting your time, War of the God Monsters. I think that's a South Korea. It's a Korean production. I can't remember if it's North or
I've
South.
been
I'm thinking
seeing
it's
some
South.
posters
Um,
and DVD boxes and what have you recently.
this is I got from SRS. Let's see. I think it's South Korea. Done in '85. Yeah, I think it's South Korea. But yeah, like it intersperses like classical Ultraman segments into this movie, and a lot of this movie takes its sweet ass time to get going. Not quite as bad as this, but it's still bad enough to where you're like tick tock, tick tock. I'd like to get on with my life.
TikTok, motherfucker.
Like I'm willing to go along with you for a moment, and like if you don't give me what I came here to see soon, I'm leaving. Done. Not climb trees; they're taller than those trees. I like SRS Cinema's tagline. Awesome underground movies you need to see now! Exclamation point. It's like, that's debatable.
So I wonder if this gal here is the mother of this kid, cause
Raiders of
she
the Lost
knows,
Shark, House
cause she
Shark,
knows his name, and
Death Toilet Trilogy.
this is like the first interaction between the two.
Dude, there's a Death Toilet Trilogy. I'm not kidding. Death
I
Toilet
wouldn't be a bit
Trilogy.
surprised.
Nezera 1964. Part of me wants to buy into that, but considering your track record.
Oh, it's his it's her little brother. This kid.
Oh, Dragon Lizard Lord Super Monsters. That definitely looks like a Godzilla ripoff. House Squatch.
Between these two, they don't really look very similar. Where she has lighter skin, and then he has a bit darker skin.
Well, probably divorced parents. Others, parent came in, you know how it goes. So I'm going to send something your way here. That could have been edited out down to cut out like 10
Like, just
seconds.
get going. And then now they're getting into the valley where Daimajin is.
It's just like, I'm so angry about this movie, I must destroy. He goes on a murderous rampage. The son's a jerk, though, from what I'm seeing.
You mean the brother?
No, I mean the son.
Oh.
Because he was talking about Hanuman got help from the son. I'm like, the son's a joke. Or a jerk.
Well, the son can be a joke too. It all depends.
You yell at the son, you don't exist, but you're looking right at me. I said you don't exist.
I like the name of the second movie of this Death Toilet number 2. And then Death Toilet Duty Calls for number 3.
Yep. So I think that's a pre-order, and remember, pre-orders cannot be canceled.
Oh, jeez.
Death Toilet Part 4, Brown Snakes on a Plane. So there's a
Oh,
Part 4.
God.
No, I'm serious. Here, I'll
No,
send it
no,
your
I'm
way.
I'm talking about the subtitle.
What did it say? I missed it.
You said brown snakes on a plane.
Oh, yeah. So these monsters really haven't gone too far yet.
Nope, they all stuck in one area. They're monsters. That's what they are.
Larry, Curly, and Moe.
Oh, that was so fake.
there's there's a Elf on the Shelf spoof called Hell on the Shelf.
Yeah. By the way, did you hear that with the copyright for Winnie the Pooh going public, now there's a a film company that's going to make a horror version of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh no. Someone save us. I mean, like I said, this is a little bit more entertaining than the first hour, but they've spent way too much time with the kaiju destroying the same location for, let's see here. Oh God, like 13 minutes now. That's like we have 30 minutes left. You that they have nothing to offer here. They don't. I mean, this is what dumbness. This, this is dumber than a child licking a dirty doorknob. I mean, this. I mean, this movie like we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and like there's nothing. Like just random monsters show up. Like I thought there was some major supervillain or something behind all this, and there isn't. And all it is about a child that got shot in the head, is revived by the Ultra family, kills the bumbling thieves, and just kind of hangs around until these monsters randomly show up. I mean, the Ultramen are nowhere else to be found right now, and like maybe if you're a child, I'm willing to accept the fact that maybe you like this, but if you're anyone from the ages of like 12 on up, there's no excuse to be enjoying this.
Well, and just the earlier parts too. I wonder. I would like to know if the attention span for kids would still be attached to the film.
Yeah, I guess it just sort of depends. The real young ones, no, but like maybe your like 7 to 10 year olds perhaps. But wow, there was like a lot of smoke that came out of that hut.
It was a it was a Mary Jane factory.
Like the way she slipped there, it's like I've seen worse falls on Fail Army, and people still got up from those. I mean, just you could tell this was their biggest set piece because they've spent so much time here already.
Yeah.
Is that some sort of ultra creature? Or is that for this movie?
I
I
think it
would
was
think
one of
it'd be for
the
this.
Ultraman creatures where it had like that double head or face, or
Huh.
like it, where it was red on one side and blue on the other side. It kind of changed personalities. I
You
think that's
know,
what
you
it
might be
was.
thinking of Johnny Sacco because I think Johnny Sacco had it when we were covering that. Like had an episode with a kaiju like that.
I have no idea. It's been a while. It's like,
It
what are you
almost looked
cheering
like
for
the
him?
side of his guts got blown out, like
Yeah.
the way that was shot. I mean, seriously, the way it was shot, it looked like the side of his gut shot out. I mean, if when you go back to rewatch that segment, that's what it looked like. I'm like, wait a minute, where'd that come from?
I thought you were supposed to be invincible.
He must not have prayed beforehand. This movie, in some ways, kind of like right now with this kid and his sister running off, does remind me sort of how kind of the latter half of War of the God Monsters plays out.
Yeah.
It's so very similar.
Boy, you're way off there, Gomera. Again.
Someone needs to go to the range.
Yeah.
These are probably reject kaiju. That's probably why there's no supervillain, because no supervillain wanted them around because they're terrible shots.
Well, Gomera's the more memorable one out of the bunch.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying for this particular movie. Where the
Now,
hell have you been?
finally, now you get the Ultraman.
But see, okay, we needed a quick like 10-second segment where they're like looking into a magic ball or something like that and like, "Oh, hey, Hanuman's in trouble. Let's go help." Cuz just seeing them leave like yeah, that's not great storytelling, but just like you're willing to waste film on a bunch of crap. You couldn't have taken 10 seconds worth and been like, "Oh, hey, he needs help."
Yeah.
He's invincible, kid.
Doesn't look
At
like
least
it
so we're
now.
told. That would be funny if they did kill him, and it's just like,
Yeah, with that music that you played at the beginning credits, like it was basically pointless if it came to that.
it's what we adults kid like to call bullshit. I'm sorry, Ultra Seven. Like you're not in my good graces after recent podcasts. The hell? Just stop Gamora, then you can get him done. A better way would be just to stop, Gamora because he was pretty defenseless there.
Yeah, but you had to have Hanuman
Yeah, I'm
do the
sure it's
work.
probably like Hanuman's got to be the hero. The Ultraman will kind of get their punches in, but it's going to be Hanuman that's going to end up being the big Kahuna.
Yeah.
And they're making them talk goofy now too. That's not what the Ultramen have been about.
I think that's Thai dub right there.
I know, but it's still, it's just, man, like they're making them jokes and not in a good way. It's not like the 66 series, Batman series, where it's like tongue in cheek, kind of goofy and jokey. Like, this is straight up making fun of what you're doing and disrespecting it.
And using some of the music from the Ultraman series.
Yeah. I swear there was a sound effect from like Godzilla vs. Sea Monster earlier too. I'm sure they don't care about you, Doctor. Because in a moment like that, most people only care about themselves.
You sure it's safe?
You want to know why everything outside is blown up? Because it's got, electronics and it's got gas and all that, some of which is inside that building that you claim to be safe.
And those oil refineries?
Yeah. How close are they to your building there, sir?
I'd like to know the behind the scenes of this movie
Gosh,
itself.
hey, wait a minute. They took the title of if there ever was any behind the scenes footage filmed of this, someone has an obligation, and I mean an obligation to release that footage.
Yeah.
Like, it is like, if they don't, they should be imprisoned. Because we have to know what this was about. Again, those two knuckleheads. Other than to try to be funny, what's their purpose? What are they here for?
Probably just comedy relief, but
But
it's
even
a
like
bit
in a
too
lot of
over the board.
But even in a lot of movies, like your comedy relief usually ends up having one sequence where they prove their metal and
Hmm.
just naive kid. That was a weird moment. You called them Supermen earlier. How'd you get the whole Ultraman thing?
Hanu Hurricane.
How? What?
I don't think he won just because of that.
He just spun him around. That's all he did. We still got like
And they're still standing.
almost 20 minutes left. Oh, thank God. Are they dead? Oh. pulled the rug out from underneath me. I don't appreciate that. I mean, those guys took a tumble. I think they at least have some broken ribs.
But I mean, where they're at is like pretty far from that whole cliff there.
I know. I was just. Oh, yeah, because I was gonna say that too. Like, that tree seems to be pretty far from the cliff. How in the world did they like fly or float over to that tree? And these guys should have died twice over now.
Yeah, just with what happened.
Is there some sort of super monster coming? Oh, is that Gamora still?
Yeah.
Should call him Doctor Wise Ass.
Or Dr. Wussy.
I wouldn't even call him that. The guy was willing to stay in a building that was blowing up slowly all around him, and he called it safe. So,
Well, with his name being Wisu, it's sort of close to Wussy.
what?
It's a nuclear
What?
reaction.
That doesn't happen with fuel container. What the hell are they trying to pull here? What is he doing? Choking on his own laugh?
Probably. I'm guessing he was just there just to detonate those oil refineries.
That stupid thing. It's I mean,
Well, we got close to 10 more minutes left here.
it's 10 minutes too long.
One explosion, and then they suddenly wake up. It's like, oh. Oh, and then they get flown all the way back up to the top of the cliff there. What the hell? Even I sort of forget what happens here.
I'm all for goofiness and stuff, but there's a line, and if this movie was more entertaining in certain ways and what have you, I would be more willing to go with it, but yeah, it seems like Hanuman's gonna be the one that finishes all of them off.
Yeah.
Har har har, they'll die headless. Sick bastard. Oh, and then the typical like 30-second explosion that comes after the fact.
I don't know what
Oh
caused them to explode.
man. It's like an 80s action movie where a car just tumbles, 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 lands. Wait for it, wait for it. I said wait for it, wait for it. Kaboom. What is it? You have like these giant monsters and everything that are around you blowing stuff up. Come on. What's the problem? What's the
Yeah.
problem, kid?
Deflate that
Oh my
balloon.
gosh. What makes you think he was a balloon to begin with? Tear off his face? What the hell? Oh my god. What? What the hell's going on? The fuck? Oh my! What in tarnations? That's one of the goofiest, fuckiest things I've seen in
So apparently, what they did is that both Ultraman and Hanuman, well, Hanuman he stabs one of the monsters right in the pectoral area.
And apparently it
Then
was a
then he
balloon all
grabs his
along.
face, rips off the whole head with the skull left in place.
And mind you, it was Ultraman to tell him to do it.
Yeah, and then you have both Hanuman and Ultraman grabbing both of the arms, ripping the skin from the armor away to where you see the bones on it, and then Hanuman doing the Hanu Hurricane, ripping to where it caused the whole skin to rip apart from the body itself.
Shit, dude. Like, I mean, look, part of me digs that because this whole movie has been knuck and futz as it is. But at the same time, part of me is like, seriously, dude, that is knuck and futz. Like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that's knuck and futz. And then there's a part of me that's like, no, that is knuck and futz. And I guarantee you, Gamora's death here is going to be so like mind-blowingly just like what happened. Like I'm willing to bet that here when that comes up here.
But I'd like to know who was the final decision who came up with that one Kaiju's death.
Tear his face off like and at the same time like he's a balloon. Like wait a minute, what? Like how is he a balloon?
Geez, you got a lot of this psychedelic stuff going on.
If you have epilepsy, there is no way you could watch some of this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, for those that aren't watching this live and have cases of some epilepsy, this is not the movie for you.
Well, and the movie starts off with something that can
Yeah.
induce epileptic seizures too. Hell,
Yeah.
even a lot of those older Ultraman shows, the way they start, could
Hmm.
do the same thing.
But compared to this is far beyond with what the whole Ultraman shows do.
I swear everybody involved with this project was on LSD. I mean, there's no other way you can explain, hey, dude, let's have him rip his face off. And he punctures him and he's like a balloon and then rip the skin off his arms. And just,
Just blow the rest of his body away from his
just
skeleton structure.
unbelievable. Gamora in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Boy, he's the one that's been doing most damage here to the planet with tidal waves, uh, hurricane-like winds, volcano
Typhoons,
erupting.
hurricanes, earthquakes, smag! Some of this looks like it's footage from Ultraman shows. It almost has to be.
I wouldn't doubt it. It's probably some of the shows that we obviously haven't gotten around to yet.
Or we have seen and just don't remember. No money because there's no background. So how many ways is Gamora gonna die here?
Oh, we'll find out here.
Oh my gosh.
Now his dagger turned into a whole sword.
He calls it trident extended. It's like, no, that's not an extended trident. That's a sword.
Actually, it looks like a bat. Look at it. It's a metal bat.
Finish him off quickly. Oh god. This is like watching a street fight gone bad. Okay, here we go. What are we gonna do here? I'm gonna be disappointed if Gamora's death is not worse than that last kaiju. Wait a minute. What? Oh, there's the fuse. All right, here we go. What are we gonna get here? That actually was kind of lame. Like,
So yeah, that one kaiju had the worst of it.
yeah, like imagine getting your face ripped off and getting a puncture wound in the chest, and then getting the skin ripped off your arms.
And have most of your skin and organs and what have you blown from you, your entire body. Well, just 3 more minutes. And then they're just standing there. It's like, what the hell is this guy doing?
I was gonna say, like, you guys don't have to stay. Like, you can leave. I bet those literally are empty suits because the way they're posed and just how they're standing.
No, they're actually moving.
They're the people in the suits. They're acting like robots.
They're just like, okay, just get it over with.
It's kind of like this is, on the books considered sexual assault from where we come from, but whatever. We understand you got different customs here. Your dear Ultra brothers, dude, you're not part of the Ultra universe. You're a pretty piss poor one if you needed 7 like Ultra brothers, or 6, I guess. 7 altogether. Duh, Sesame Street taught me to count. Oh.
And then Sampo Sands at the end with the airplane picture right at the very end. Uh, well, that's it. The movie of Hanuman versus Seven Ultraman. Well, we kind of pretty much know Kent's whole
Look, I
view.
bought. Look, I figured it could turn into pretty big nonsense once we got further in, but I was kind of, reeled in with those first 4 minutes,
So
and then
basically, it was a bait and
immediately
switch.
it was. It's like, oh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy trap. Oh, wait a minute. Like, it just. This is so dumb. I mean, I don't really want to spend too much time repeating myself because I've said it once, if not several times over the course of this commentary. There's nothing of value in this story. There's no actual plot, really. So much could have either been cut down, if not eliminated, to begin with. Um, like,
Yeah,
by the way,
basically,
did Doctor Wisu, did he live or did he die? Like,
I'm
what
assuming
was his
he
fate?
I'm assuming he died because that whole facility exploded.
Because one of the things I've learned from watching movies over the years is that unless you see a body, you have to assume that they're alive. So I don't know, but
But yeah, it's like the majority of this film just basically took place with Ko and a lot of those kids just randomly dancing at that ancient temple, and then you got those goons, and then Ko getting shot and then being revived as Hanuman by the Ultraman there, and then yeah, him chasing the thieves
so
for a long period of time, which was unnecessary.
here's the compliments I will give this. Number one, that third thief that got his comeuppance, that was something. The practicals by and large were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then that second to last kaiju, his death. Look, I've seen some horrific and crazy like kaiju deaths with some of the Ultraman series. I have yet to see anything that fucked up. I mean, that was.
Yeah, out of all the kaiju deaths from from Ultraman, the Gamera, and and Godzilla series, that has to be the gruesome one that a kaiju has ever received.
I mean, typically, like even with Gamera Super Monster, and I don't remember because this was long ago, but I think even with some of the bad films, I've always been like, okay, because you're a fan of either kaiju or you're a fan of this character, go ahead and check it out anyways. You probably are not going to like it, but I think for completionist purposes and to maybe understand something about the character's cinematic history, you should check this entry out. This you don't have to check out. If you are, and again, I haven't seen the Japanese one,
Neither have
and
I.
I am willing to bet that if you are just so desperately, like if you just listened to us and didn't even bother watching this, um, and you really are super curious and are really desperately wanting to check it out, I am willing to say, forget this. Check out the Japanese version because you'll at least save 25 minutes of your life there. And I think you'll get the gist. This is so stupid and asinine. There's no structure to it. It's nothing but a giant ball of rats whose brains got lobotomized, then contraptionalized to have infinite amounts of caffeine shot into the rest of their brains and bodies. And they decided towards the end, let's add some pixie sticks to this mixture as well and let them loose. I mean, this is just one of the dumbest. Like, I can go with dumb and crazy and silly. Like, Kappa, um, as much as I don't care for that movie,
Talking
that
about
at
Death Kappa.
least Death Kappa, yeah. At least that movie was designed to sort of be a spoof.
Hmm.
This is nothing. Like,
And how would you compare this one to Polgassery?
oh gosh, Pulgasari, better structure, had issues with its story and stuff too. Nothing like this though. But I find it boring as hell though.
But what would you have to pick between these two movies?
Oh, you're doing that if you're stuck on an island crap. Like,
Yeah.
oh man. Um, I hate you for this. Like, I just, I probably would go with this. Um,
Really?
I'm willing to go with stupid, crazy shit
I'm
than
surprised that you
boring
picked
stuff.
this.
No, don't get me wrong. Pulgasari in just about every way is a better film than this, but it's dull. And as everybody who has heard me over the almost 12 years or whatever now we've been doing this podcast knows that I've always said I need you to be entertaining. You can be stupid and stuff, but if you're entertaining enough, I'm willing to go along with you. Pulgasari is dull. I find it to be a dull movie. Um, this here, it's incredibly stupid in just about every conceivable way, but it's at least so stupid that the lizard part of my brain is being tickled. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this. What about you?
Uh, yeah, it kind of has its dumb, goofy ways, but yeah, some of it just has it has its own entertaining way to try to kind of draw you in a little bit. Whereas with Polgasori, it was kind of more of a serious tone, so to speak.
Even
But
that movie was too long, too.
yeah,
I thought,
but as
anyways.
far as the story structure to that movie and probably the characters themselves, that one's far superior compared to this one.
That one's
And
Casablanca
yeah, and
compared to
as far
this.
as the practical effects, with both of them being good, but if I had to choose one for kind of the whole setting and practical effects, um, it probably would have to be this one.
And you were surprised that I picked it.
Well, being you, I thought you probably would have picked Pulgassery over this one.
No, because again, I've always said if a movie bores me to death, no. I'm willing to go with stupid because at least maybe because at least
Because
maybe
both of us
we'll
do stupid stuff.
because maybe we will survive a car wreck over like let's go have tea with like crazy old people at like Starbucks or whatever. Like, like, this here will, like I said, tickle a little bit of that lizard part of my brain. It's just like, look, I can at least make fun of it, and at least if I'm stuck on an island by myself, be walking around the rest of the island like, can you believe this? Like, I can at least entertain myself. I can at least entertain myself by talking to myself and talking to just the random universe of like, they made this shit. Like, did you see that? They ripped its skin off. Like, whereas Pulgasari, it's just like, oh man, like I need to go take a nap because I'm tired. I'm bored.
Or you're just like sitting in your chair, just kind of like this. It's like,
I mean, to me, Pulgasari is a boring movie, but at the same time, like in terms of story structure, in terms of actually having a plot and stuff like that, that is a better movie. I
hmm.
will even take this movie over something like I don't know, like Argo. Like,
Wow.
I mean, it's just. to me, those kinds of I will take this over any of the Godfather movies. I mean, I just those are better made movies, but at least this will entertain me on some level. But I just no. Point is that you don't need to watch this, and if you are so inclined as to do so, I am willing to bet the Japanese version is where you want to go because that's 25 minutes shorter. So
However, if you want to watch the original version like what we did, just be prepared.
I wouldn't even recommend it. I still think the Japanese version, you might, if you were to watch that though, you'd probably be like, "Oh, that actually wasn't too bad." It's like, no, then we'll point you to the original. It's like, no, now you got to watch the original. Like,
Yeah, it's not bad. What are you guys talking about? See the
here's a
original.
copy. Wait a minute, you burnt it. I burnt it for people like you because some of you need to see this. All right. Well, with that, thank you so much for joining us with this really terrible film. And
if,
we hope
if if you stuck around to watching it
and
with
we
us.
hope you had some fun even at our expense. So, thank you so much for joining us. We don't know exactly when we'll do the next episode because my family and I will be making a trip into Jason's neighborhood, literally,
Yep.
within the next week. And so we'll just kind of see how things play out. Maybe we'll do something next week, maybe not. We'll just have to play it by ear and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And if we do, we will be discussing the Japanese version of this same movie, but much shorter.
It's shorter. I don't know if I would call it much shorter. To me, much shorter if you were to cut out like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, still much shorter.
It's still an hour, 19 minutes too long.
Yeah. At least
All
it's
right.
not. At least it's not like close to 2 hours. So.
That would have been something if the Japanese version actually was longer.
God.
You
Then
know
what?
what?
Then what extra shit would they put in there?
But however, think of it this way though. If they did make the screwball thing of making it longer, that new footage would be Japanese. So maybe it would still be better. I don't know.
Maybe cut out all those knuckleheads and stuff.
Like,
So.
what if they said, "Look, we're taking this movie, we're re-editing it, and the only thing they kept in was a little bit of that dancing, and everything else was brand new. Like, it's not even the same movie. It's just,
I mean, they had the extra 5 years before they released it in Japanese theaters.
because they needed that time to like watch the whole thing, to do this for a while for like 3 years." And then to go through and edit the thing down, and they're like, "Ah, shit, only 25 minutes shorter."
But yeah.
But again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had fun. You know, hearing us get tortured.
All right. With that, we will see every one of you next time.